A dry wind moves through Kenya's savanna, brushing the tops of yellow grass like a slow tide. On a low ridge, a troop of olive baboons pauses at the edge of open ground. They're not running. They're not calling. They're doing something far more revealing, scanning. Adults lift their heads in short, deliberate movements. Younger baboons cluster close, watching the older ones for cues. A large male stands slightly apart, his body angled toward the downwind side. Because somewhere ahead, in the same golden shade as the grass, a pride of lions may already be lying still. For lions, a baboon is not the usual target. Baboons are alert, social, and quick to react. They fight back when they have to. And in most parts of Kenya, lions have easier options: zebra, wildebeest, or buffalo when conditions allow. But in the wild, usual doesn't always mean guaranteed. A troop that needs water must cross open land. A pride that needs food will use every advantage the landscape offers. And when their paths intersect, everything depends on timing, terrain, and awareness. So today, as baboons step forward into the open, the real question isn't who is stronger. It's this: how do baboons survive in a world where lions can turn silence into danger? And how do lions decide when a difficult target is suddenly worth the risk? This documentary follows a real ecological conflict that plays out across Kenya's wild landscapes. The ongoing survival challenge between olive baboons, Papio anubis, and lions, Panthera leo. These encounters aren't myths, and they aren't rare accidents. Researchers and long-term field projects, including baboon studies in Kenya's Amboseli ecosystem, document predation pressure from large carnivores, including lions, and the complex, group-based defenses baboons use to reduce that risk. But this is not a story of heroes and villains. It's a science-based look at how baboons detect threats and protect vulnerable troop members, how lions adapt their hunting to opportunity and conditions, and how drought, habitat edges, and shifting food availability can bring predators and primates into the same narrow corridors of survival. Because in Kenya, every species shares the same landscape, and every choice has a cost. And when baboons and lions enter the same space, the outcome is never decided by strength alone. It's decided by strategy. This documentary is presented for educational and informational purposes only. All content is based on real-world animal behavior, supported by scientific research, ecological studies, and verified observations from reputable wildlife organizations and natural history sources. No information is fabricated, fictionalized, or exaggerated. Before we continue, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to support the channel and help us bring more nature stories to life. The troop begins to move. Not all at once. That would be too obvious, too noisy. Instead, it's a controlled flow. Adults in the lead, juveniles in the center, and several large males positioned where danger is most likely to come from. This isn't random. In group-living animals like baboons, the safest place is rarely the front. It's the middle. The young stay protected by layers of bodies, and those bodies belong to individuals capable of reacting fast. But the landscape doesn't offer much cover. A shallow dip in the ground leads to a thin line of scrub, the kind of vegetation lions can disappear into without truly vanishing. For the baboons, this is the most difficult kind of habitat. Not open enough to see everything, not dense enough to climb or escape. They slow down. A female stops and looks left. Another looks right, then down at the ground, not searching for food, but for tracks. A baboon's world isn't only visual. It's built from scent, sound, and patterns: disturbed grass, flattened soil, the wrong kind of silence. Then a juvenile breaks formation, just a few steps away from the center. It happens quickly: curiosity, hunger, distraction. A young baboon spots something on the ground: a seed pod, an insect, a scrap of edible plant matter. It drifts outward, away from the safest zone. An adult snaps its head around instantly. Not a gentle reminder, a sharp repositioning, a warning without words. Because this is the moment lions wait for. Lions are not built for long chases. They are built for short, decisive bursts, timed when attention breaks and distance opens. And baboons, no matter how intelligent, are still part of the same ecological math. Separate one member from the group, and the odds change. The troop pauses again, tighter now. The large male on the edge takes a step forward, then stops. He stares into the scrub line as if he's looking at something invisible. And then, a movement. Not a roar. Not a chase. Just grass bending in a way the wind didn't bend it. The baboons freeze. In the savannah, freezing is not hesitation. It's information gathering at the highest speed. Because if that movement is a lioness, or worse, more than one, the troop has only seconds to decide. Do they turn back? Do they climb? Do they stand their ground? The grass shifts again, and now the troop must choose, before the landscape chooses for them. The grass moves once, then stills. For a moment, nothing else changes. No sudden rush, no impact, just a troop of baboons locked in place, reading the landscape like a living map. This is what survival looks like for a prey animal that can't afford mistakes. Pause, assess, and respond as one. Then, a clear alarm call breaks the silence. Not a scream, a sharp, patterned sound that signals urgency and direction. In baboons, alarm calls are part of a highly developed warning system. The message isn't just danger. It's danger is here. The troop compresses tightly. Juveniles are pulled inward, almost absorbed into the group. Adults shift position without panic, practiced, coordinated, fast. Several large males move to the front edge, creating space between the troop and the scrub line. This is a crucial difference between baboons and many other prey species. Baboons don't only flee. In certain situations, they confront. Field studies and long-term observations show baboons can respond to predators with vocal alarms, coordinated movement, and sometimes mobbing or counterattacks, especially when vulnerable troop members are at risk. And the lions know that. A lioness is built for ambush, not uncertainty. A hunt is most successful when the prey animal is confused, isolated, or looking the wrong way. But baboons are looking everywhere. Along the edge of the scrub, the lioness remains mostly hidden, only the faintest outline visible between stems. She hasn't committed. She's not charging. She's measuring. Because a baboon troop isn't one target. It's dozens of eyes, dozens of reactions. And if the lions rush at the wrong moment, they risk injury and wasted energy they may not recover quickly. Then something shifts in the lion strategy. A second lioness becomes visible farther down the line. This changes everything. Now it's not one threat. It's a coordinated pressure point. The baboons understand immediately. This isn't an encounter. It's an attempt to control their movement. The troop begins to angle away from the scrub line, turning slightly uphill towards scattered trees. But the route isn't clean. Between the troop and the trees lies open ground. A gap, a stretch of exposure that favors the lion's explosive speed. The dominant male steps forward again, holding position. He doesn't charge. He doesn't flee. He stands still, a clear signal to the troop. Stay tight. Stay behind. Adult males are often found in higher-risk positions on the group's edge, especially in landscapes with major predators like lions, leopards, and hyenas. GPS collar studies of wild olive baboons show adult males consistently occupying more exposed positions compared to other group members. In this moment, those findings become visible in real time. But lions aren't only watching the troop. They're watching for one small mistake. And mistakes happen fastest at the edges. A subadult baboon, old enough to move confidently, young enough to misjudge distance, hesitates near the outer ring. It looks toward the trees, then back toward the troop, as if caught between options. The lioness notices immediately. Her posture lowers. Her head aligns. Her body becomes still in a way that isn't resting. It's calculating. The baboons see it too. The troop erupts into motion, fast but not scattered, flowing uphill toward the trees. Not sprinting in panic, but moving with urgent purpose. The dominant male holds for one heartbeat longer, then follows. The lioness shifts forward a few steps, enough to test the troop's edge, enough to see if that subadult will break, enough to see if the troop will split. And now the distance between baboons and trees is shrinking, but not fast enough to guarantee safety. Because the lions don't need the whole troop. They only need one baboon to fall behind. And as the troop surges upward, the smallest members must keep pace across open ground, while the lions decide whether this is finally the moment to commit. Just as the troop reaches the first low branches, one lioness accelerates, not toward the center, toward the edge. Will the troop make it into the trees as a single unit? Or will the lions succeed in forcing the separation they've been waiting for. The lioness accelerates, low to the ground, not in a long chase, but in a short test of timing. The troop reacts instantly. Baboons surge toward the nearest trees, and the landscape changes in seconds. The open ground that favored the lions collapses into vertical space, trunks, branches, and height. For baboons, this is not just escape. It's a tactical advantage. As the first adults reach the base, they climb quickly but not blindly. Some stop halfway up, turning to face outward. Others keep moving higher. The troop spreads into levels, a layered defense in the canopy. And now, the lioness slows. Because trees change the rules, a lion can't easily climb after them. Not without risk. Not without losing the element of surprise. And not without becoming exposed in an awkward position that offers no good exit. The lioness circles the trunk, looking up. Below the branches, she is powerful. Above them, she is outmatched by gravity. But the lions aren't leaving. A second lioness steps from the scrub line and joins her. They walk slowly, scanning from tree to tree, not in frustration, but in calculation. This is still a hunt, even if it has changed shape. The baboons grow louder now. Not frantic, structured. Sharp calls, repeated patterns, and deep barks from adult males. Several males move to lower branches and begin a behavior researchers have documented in baboons and other primates. Mobbing, coordinated intimidation meant to push a predator away. But mobbing comes with a cost. The closer a baboon gets to the ground, the more dangerous the moment becomes. A lion doesn't need the whole troop to panic. It only needs one animal to come down too far. One adult male hangs at a low level, holding position like a gate. He watches the lioness below, shifting his weight forward and back, as if warning her, not today. And in that moment, the interaction becomes a standoff. Two species, both intelligent in very different ways. The lions try to keep pressure on the edge, pacing and watching for a mistake. The baboons form a wall of eyes above them, constantly tracking movement, constantly adjusting. Minutes pass. Then something changes again, not in the lions, but in the troop. A juvenile begins to whimper softly. A very young baboon clings to its mother. The troop isn't just escaping danger. It's managing stress, heat, hunger, and the need to keep moving. Baboons can't stay forever. They still need water. They still need food. And they still have to come down. The lions know this. They lie in the shade, conserving energy, watching the troop like a countdown. This is how lions succeed, not always with speed, but with patience. And now, the baboons must solve the hardest problem of all. How do you leave the safety of the trees when the predators are willing to wait? Behavioral and ecological analysis. What we're seeing here is not a battle in the human sense. It's an ecological negotiation shaped by risk, terrain, and energy. Why lions target baboons at all? Lions are famous for hunting large ungulates, wildebeest, zebra, and buffalo. But in reality, lions are opportunistic. If conditions shift, drought, injury, competition, scarcity, a pride may target smaller or more difficult prey when the opportunity is strong enough. Baboons can become viable targets when they're forced to travel on the ground across open areas, visibility is reduced near scrub or tall grass, or a vulnerable individual drifts away from the troop. A key observation from field literature is that lion attacks on baboons are most likely during ground foraging and travel, especially when an ambush attempt has good cover and a clean line of approach. Why baboons don't always flee? Unlike many prey animals, baboons live in highly social groups where cooperation changes the odds. When faced with predators, baboons can issue alarm calls to coordinate troop movement, cluster young in the safest positions, and position large adult males at the exposed edges. GPS collar research on wild olive baboons shows adult males are frequently located on the group's edge, the most exposed position, consistent with a protective role and uneven distribution of predation risk inside the troop. This does not mean males are heroic. It means selection favors troops where risk is managed efficiently, and adult males have the size and weaponry to reduce immediate danger long enough for the troop to reorganize. The role of habitat. Why trees matter for baboons. Trees aren't just shelter, they're part of their survival design. Lions dominate horizontal space. Baboons dominate vertical escape routes. Even when lions don't catch prey, forcing baboons into trees can still be beneficial. It delays their travel and increases stress, and over time it can influence where troops choose to move and forage. In ecosystems like Kenya's savannas, including areas studied intensively in Amboseli, predation risk is one of many pressures shaping baboon behavior alongside access to water, food, and human-altered landscapes. As the sun shifts and shadows stretch across the savanna, the standoff doesn't end with noise or chaos. It ends the way many wild encounters end, through calculation. The lions remain near the tree line, conserving energy. They've learned the troops' weak points, the exposed edges, the moments when youngsters drift, the places where cover gives them an advantage. And the baboons, high in the branches, do what baboons have done for thousands of generations. They watch, they wait, and they adapt. Because survival here isn't about a single sprint or a single moment. It's about reading the landscape and reading each other. In Kenya, every day is shaped by movement. Predators searching for opportunity, prey balancing hunger against risk, and entire ecosystems held together by invisible decisions like when to cross open ground and when not to. For lions, patience is power. For baboons, coordination is protection. And for both, the savanna is a reminder that life in the wild is not built on certainty, it's built on strategy. If you enjoyed this journey into the wild, subscribe for more real animal stories. Leave a comment below. What part surprised you most?